Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today I'm bringing you the 7 Deadly Sin double release chapter 162-163. I would like to apologize, it has been delayed somewhat because of the release schedule. I got 2 videos up yesterday. I've got 2 videos up today that I'm going to be doing, one of them being this and Hinamaru-zuma. So unfortunately it was delayed, so all I can say in Japanese is Sumimasen, and thank you for your patience. Domo arigato. So moving on, the chapter itself being a double header, I was expecting maybe one's going to be a bit slower. Absolutely wrong. Brilliant chapter, many revelations, many concerns. The power of the 10 Commandments is shown. A lot happened before kind of going and doing anything. I've got a 5-point review that'll cover everything. As always, if there's something you like what I'm doing, please leave a thumbs up, leave it in the comment section below. If there's something that you dislike, leave a thumbs down and let me know in the comment section how to improve. I will leave a thumbnail around about here for those that have on the desktop that can't subscribe, but I will leave a link in the description below. Also a link to the playlist for those who may have missed some of my other reviews for the 7 Deadly Sins and the last chapter I reviewed as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, in summary, these chapters right here is what makes me want to read the 7 Deadly Sins. Now you could look at it from a basic standpoint and say this was pretty much set up for this big battle that we're going to have. But the details are what are important. Now, effectively all this really is setting the stage for the fight. You could sum that up pretty much. These 2 chapters were that. But the little intricate things that was going on in this chapter blew my mind. This is one of those live reaction worthy chapters in my opinion, and when you take everything as a whole, taking on the revelations, finding out what we find out, it is a 9 out of 10 chapter for me. The only thing that could have made this a 10 is if Meliodas started fighting with one of them, but we'll have to wait and see for that later. In any case, let's get into the 5-point review. So, point number 1. Point number 1 is probably one of the more simpler of the 5 elements that I'm looking at today, but I found this interesting because this helped explain the seriousness and the gravity of the situation. So the chapter starts off, everyone's like, how are you doing? Sorry to keep you waiting. How la 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 la. Everyone's all excited to see each other. And then Elaine then is saying, what's going on? You seem a lot different now. She's gone from very calm, chilled, nice to dead serious. To the point where Meliodas even says, if those who want to turn back now. That's how scary and powerful, how terrifying these 10 Commandments are. So the gravity of the situation is very apparent. These people aren't to be messed about with. And it is shown very quickly how serious and how dangerous of a situation they're in. That's point. So point number 2. Dolor. So the legendary giant that was mentioned previously by Diana and Matrona as being the guy who started it all off and everything else. He is the one that's one of the 10 Commandments, and he's the one who shows his power. So he basically sets the stage. He does this funky hand movement that looks like he's doing some type of mantra, and he out of the earth he brings up 2 big hands, kind of like this, that is gigantic, that the dwarf the actual stadium, and they go, this is the stadium you will fight on. Just like that. Now the crazy thing is, with every revelation there was a reaction. So they got Dolor and Diana and Matrona were like, what the hell is going on? So not only is he the legendary giant, which kind of confuses because I'm going to talk about it in the summary at the end in my thoughts, but the guy's dead powerful. Maybe way more powerful than we can deal with, but this sets up potentially a battle, Dolor versus Diana and Matrona. What do you think, guys? That's point number 2. Point number 3. So parts of this episode, they make references to smell and roses and flowers, and King is freaked out. Elaine is suspecting this as well, but they're surprised by the other 10th commandment. We get the revelation. We find out who it is. It's Glokshina. Apparently that's how you pronounce her name. Glokshina. and she was the first, the original Fairy King. But not just that, she's got a special spiritual lance called Vasquez, and she uses that to take care of the small fry. So she effectively transforms into this thorn type of attack, which wipes out all those that are left in the maze, literally wiping out the fodder basically. Which King's like, this can't be. How are you alive? You died to the Demon King. Bear that in mind. That's going to be an interesting topic to talk about in the end. And she basically says to him, if you want to find out what happened, beat us first. Win the whole thing. We will give you all your answers. So that sets up something. Not only is she dangerous, not only is she powerful, she's the first Fairy King. This could set up Elaine and King versus the first Fairy King. That'd be a crazy battle, right? So we have giants and fairies that are part of the 10 Commandments. That's point number 3. Point number 4. The entrance of the remaining sins. I say remaining sins, we don't really see Merlin, to be honest. She still hasn't sorted her body situation out. But we do get to see Gothor and Escanor there. Funny thing about Escanor is Escanor's in his weak form again. And he's like, oh, I was just delivering booze. What am I even doing here? I don't even participate in this. And his glasses break because Gothor falls on him. And he's like, oh, Merlin made me these. Which pisses off Gloxina. And she stabs him through the chest, practically killing the guy. Like that, because she got annoyed. And just about as he's about to die, he's like, oh, I didn't get to tell Merlin. The special lance changes. It changes form. And he's healed just like that. That is a dangerous move to have. If you think about it, if you don't take care of her, what's to say she just can't keep healing Dolo over and over and over and over and over again? It would literally be a never-ending story. But the fact that she's so merciless that she just wiped him out, nearly killed him, shows that she's a scary thing to behold. But at the same time, you need to bear in mind he was in his weak form. As the story continues, I'm hoping we see the pride of the lion very soon, and we get to see his strong form, which, as you know, is something to behold. We didn't get to see his full power because as soon as he started doing that, the other 10th commander started running for the hills and he died or petrified himself. But yeah, that's point number 4. Point number 5. They decide to split them up. They go, since there's so many of you here, more than we initially anticipated, what we're going to have to do is break this down a little bit. So we're going to put you into teams of 2. And I've got a few that I found interesting. Now, I can't remember all off the top of my head, so we'll be reading from the list. One of the most interesting ones that really struck out for me was Meliodas and Ban. I think they do really make a good team. They're meant to be like best friends. Meliodas has the power, Ban is the undead, and he's got the speed. Another thing that I found interesting was Hendrix and Grimoire. If potentially Grimoire can get to where he needs to be, as in back to his normal form, seeing that knight do his thing, the two like cremes of the creme de la creme of the holy knights going at it against the 10 Commandments will be a sight to be seen, a sight to behold, I guess. So that was interesting. Another interesting one, other than a few of the like Diane and King was good, because that's going to really push King, was Escanor and Hawk. That was just for humour. We got Elizabeth and Elaine, which is like the humans, I guess, even though Elaine's meant to be like a fairy, so I don't know how that's going to play out. But bearing in mind, Elizabeth is like the student or the apprentice of the gods. How will that play out in the grand scheme of thing? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, this one caught my eye, and I thought to myself, this could show some revelations in the future. And it's to do with Gil Thunder. So Gil Thunder is obviously Gil, and Thunder because he's got thunder, that's how he's named. But there's a magician that's also there called Gil Frost. You see what I mean? So he's probably got the frost technique. Are they related maybe? Is there a blood relation between them? Are they cousins? Are they, ancestrally related? It's just an interesting concept to bear in mind. So there's like loads of teams. I mean, the demons are in there. There's assassins in there. There's like the knights in there. There's quite a few different people in there. It take me a while to go through because they're teams of 16. I mean, even Dolor and Gloshina basically make puppets of themselves or slaves of themselves to get involved. But it does set the stage. The battle lines have been drawn. So it's interesting to see how it goes from here. Who's going to battle who? What's going to happen next? We will have to wait to see to the next chapter. So on to my final thoughts and things to consider moving forward. So, final thoughts. A lot of information that we got, a lot of revelations, a lot of cruelties, and we get to see the power, but also the ruthlessness of the Ten Commandments, namely Gloshina. We don't know what the situation is with Dolor, and I'd imagine we're going to find out at some point why they're even in the Ten Commandments, because when you look back in the story so far, what they've told us is all the other kind of races, the gods, the giants, the fairies, the humans, they all came together to take down the Demon King, and they sealed him and his demons. So why are people from those races actually in there? Was this a situation where they went bad, they betrayed their clans, and the clans had to come together to take care of them? Or is there more to that? I would really love to find out. So just to let you know, from a story point of view, apparently there's going to be 3 major arcs. The first major arc of the story was the first part, which is what the anime kind of covers, missing out a lot of it. The second arc is the 10 Commandments, which is what we're in now. Now, what you got to bear in mind is 2 commandments have been taken care of, so there's 8 left, and they've been spread all over the place. And these are the other 2, so if you can take care of these 2, we have 6 more. Also, to bear in mind, we've got 2 there, but the third one, kind of like a hidden snake in the grass, is Gothor, but he probably just doesn't realize, and neither does anybody else. So that's going to be interesting to bear in mind. And bearing in mind, we've got 6 of the sins, which is technically 5. And 3 of the 10 Commandments, which is technically 2. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Who's going to fight who? What's going to happen next? How are we even going to overcome these 10 Commandments? We're going to have to wait and see. But as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for commenting and liking and disliking, as you will do. Please subscribe. Like I said, thumbnails up here. We'll leave everything in the description as well. Thank you very much for your time. Please share it with your friends and get supporting, and I'll continue to be doing this as I love to do this. I enjoy this, and I'll hope to see more from you, and you can hope to see more from me. Peace.